chair a little bit. Good morning and happy Sunday, folks. Well, should I just get right down to the chase and talk about what happened last night? Well, it is part of my hobby, so I could. But, I still need to talk about my low and my act of kindness as well. So let's start with my low is, even though Scat and Scuddy got canceled, and I accepted that, I was still a little bit sad. I was. But if there's one thing I've learned in the last 6 years is, regardless of the situation, you press on. And do whatever you can to salvage the day. And my high is I very much was able to salvage the day. Honestly, it's like I said yesterday, it's been not since early January had I really had a Saturday night out with my family. And for as rambunctious as my nephews were acting at dinner, it was still a lot of fun. In fact, helping my dad watch my nephews at dinner, that was one of my acts of kindness. My other act of kindness was, because, I was going to make garlic bread for Scat and Scatty, right? And there was someone who wasn't going to be able to come because, she was working, so I was going to save some of my garlic bread and, give it to her. I couldn't do that yesterday, but I did promise I was going to get my friend something. So I took two of the remaining, right now, 2 of the remaining 49 jars of pickles that I had. So now I'm down to 47 by my count. Gave 2 of those jars, and I took them to where she worked. One jar for her and the other jar for where she worked, which was for Pix. So I went to Pix last night to hang out after I saw my family. And actually, I've had several highs, including seeing my friend and actually performing said acts of kindness and being with my family. I went to the Last Stand for a National Ice Cream for Breakfast Day. I mentioned the Last Stand a little bit yesterday, but you know what? I had to add the Last Stand to the Cutler list. I had to, because it was awesome. They got really cool ice cream, really good ice cream, cool coffee drinks. It was ice cream for breakfast day. Of course, I got myself some ice cream, and not only that, but I got the bacon and pancake sundae. At this moment in time, I will tell you that's the second best sundae I've ever had. I would still say the corn fritter sundae from Seneca Farms in Penn Yan is better, but this was really good, really, really good. In a lot of ways, it's kind of the most original sundae I've ever had. But then again, the originality is why the corn fritter sundae is so. It's why the corn fritter sundae appeals to me as well. And keep in mind, everything that happened at the Last Stand, that was in the morning. I gotta talk about what happened last night. So, there's no easy way to say this. There's no funny way to say this. There isn't even a way I could say it that I could easily explain to someone who's uninformed. So I'm just gonna go right out and say it. Last night I went to my first drag show. I'm not kidding. When I went to a Pix last night to see my friend, they were setting up for, a drag show. And, I'd never seen a drag show before, so figured, why not stay? So before I continue on with what happened, I feel it important to say a few things. For starters, look, you're either going to be comfortable with this sort of thing or you're not. If for whatever reason you don't feel comfortable, seeing what's essentially grown men dressing up as a woman, that's fine. Just go and do something else. In fact, full disclosure, my first exposure to a quote-unquote drag race had nothing to do with, what happened last night. In fact, the first time I ever heard the word drag race was watching Power Rangers of all things. Yeah, I think it was the Monster of the Week challenged the Red Ranger to a drag race. It's basically the race cars. They're racing cars. And usually in that kind of scenario, in a drag race, like those kind of drag races, it's two lanes, but one of them narrows down into one, and basically the first person to, chicken out. It's essentially a game of chicken. The first person to chicken out loses. Or sometimes, tragically, no one chickens out and both drivers, let's just say it doesn't end well for them. I'll say that much. Last night had nothing to do with that kind of drag race. I mean, speaking of drag race, listen, we live in a day and age where the show RuPaul's Drag Race is commonplace in the American household now. So, we've come so very far in terms of acceptance. I mean, I shouldn't say don't be a hater at this point, because there's no need. I've been aware of being accepting forever, for as long as I can remember. I know this. And it actually makes me feel good that I know this, because, I mean, look at me. I literally fit the description of someone who would otherwise dislike the pride community at large. Straight, white, Catholic. Again, I literally fit that description of someone who would otherwise dislike the pride community. When in reality, that couldn't be farther from the truth. In fact, for those of you who are initiated with all the videos that I've done, during Pride Month, I make an effort to show that I am a Pride ally. And that's important. Because, for a lot of members in the Pride community, not just for those who dress in drag, it can be a scary transition. Especially when people who dislike the Pride community wind up being people that said people in the Pride community are related to, family members. And that can create, very difficult, relationships, even strained relationships, to the point where some family members wind up not speaking for years. In fact, I literally just saw this on Friday night because RuPaul's Drag Race was on. I watched a little bit of it. And there was this one guy who learned how to sew and, do a lot of stuff from his grandma. But his grandma didn't approve that he dresses in drag, so they haven't spoken to each other. So, I actually take pride in being an ally myself. Because, that sort of thing can be horrible. If you don't have family, who do you have to turn to? Which is why I always say, it's important to surround yourself with people who lift you up rather than bring you down. So make no mistake, what I'm doing right here, this is a safe space, for sure. Of course I'm a Pride ally. And by extension, of course I had no problem with what happened last night. It was fun. I had a blast. I mean, let's say for the sake of argument that seeing my first drag show did not live up to my satisfactory, let's say. I could just simply leave and never go to another one again. That's it. If for whatever reason it was very much not to my satisfactory and it made me angry, I would just simply keep it to myself and move on. Go about my day, go about my life. That's all I would do. There's no need to be a hater. There's no need to, blast the Pride community saying stuff like, oh, that's an abomination. That's ridiculous. It's immoral. It's suicide. I'm not going to do that. That's not what I do. When I first started making videos, I made a solemn vow to myself. I'd be open and accepting towards others. And this is no different. Of course I had fun. And I mean, It's grown men dressing in drag and lip sync. And last night they were lip syncing to country music. I like country music. And they're having fun. And I actually learned a few things. For starters, apparently dressing in drag is very expensive. Like Mr. Dink from Duck, very expensive. And I kind of get why. I mean, listen, I'm not a woman, so obviously I've never needed the use for makeup. Now, I never need makeup. This is all natural. Anyway, so I don't like purchase makeup or anything, but I get that, it can be very expensive. And, clothes can also be very expensive. To find the right clothes for a man dressing up like a woman, I can only imagine how high the expenses are. So, it definitely wasn't out of the realm of possibility that as these drag queens were performing last night, there were people, dropping singles. I mean, again, I just sat at the bar, hung out with my friend who was working there. So, I could see what the show. Well, actually, the show was actually more to my left. Just watching from afar. It was fun. I mean, there was one moment where one of the drag queens that was hosting the event, walked up to me and said, well, first of all, she called me handsome, which, I mean, look, a lot of women don't usually say that to me, so, okay. And, yes, he asked me if I'm having a good time. I said yes. He asked, this is my first drag show. I'm like, this is my first drag show. And they said, well, I hope you have fun. That's it. That's all that happened. Nothing bad there. It was rather, it surprised me a little bit, but not because it made me feel uncomfortable, but not in any way because it made me feel uncomfortable, just because I just wasn't expecting it. Which, that happens. There lots of times we get surprised because we just weren't expecting something. That's just what happened. But nothing bad happened. It was fun, got to listen to some country music as well. That's fun. Admittedly I did leave early, but not because of anything I didn't like. Just, listen, the drag show started at like 10:30. It was already late for me as it was. I think I left at like 11:20 or something. Which, okay, so to get from Pix to where I live is almost a complete straight line. You're not doing any 90-degree turns or anything. You're pretty much just going straight, right? No kidding. I got all green lights coming home. Which, come on, that's just cool in and of itself, right? So, a trip that would take maybe 8 to 10 minutes, give or take, I got back here in 5 minutes. Because not once did I really need to stop. I had to slow down if I was behind the car, obviously. But, again, all green lights. I boom, 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 boom. I think I passed 5 green lights and it cut my time in half. I don't know if I'm ever going to get lucky again. But, it was still fun. And actually, while I was in Pix, I tried the, so I knew I was going to try the dill pickle fries, but they had dill pickle hummus too. I'm like, dill pickle hummus? Seriously, I saw them post that they had it, and I had 2 friends that are already planning a date night to go. I'm like, and these 2 people I know are even bigger, are some of the biggest pickle fans ever. If they're planning a date night for something like dill pickle hummus, I'm like, I myself have to give this a try as well. So I did. It was awesome. I like hummus. Hummus is cool. Hummus is good. I like hummus. So, yeah. Last night was a lot of fun. I saw my first drag show. I can definitely say I saw my first drag show, and it was a lot of fun. Nothing uncomfortable happened, nothing bad happened. Not that I expected it to, but, look, again, it's 2024. The fact that I have to waste my breath saying don't be a hater seems ridiculous. But again, sadly, every once in a while, you have a group of people who come out and completely, put the pride community on blast just to show off their dislike towards the pride community. And again, I fit the description of someone who, would normally be associated with not liking the pride community. Straight, white, Catholic. Couldn't be far from the truth. I had a lot of fun. I mean, again, going to my first trip, this was completely like I was not expecting this to happen. I wasn't. This is an experience that I was not remotely expecting to happen at all. Much less at a place like Pix. But I went. It wound up happening anyway. And I had fun. Enough said. So, again, you either feel comfortable around this sort of thing or you don't. You're either going to be, if you do feel uncomfortable, just go somewhere else to find entertainment. I, on the other hand, and everyone else who actually does feel comfortable, seeing a grown man dressing up like a woman, we're going to be over here having fun. And that's exactly what happened last night. I had fun. So needless to say, I'm going to remember this for a long time. I hope y'all like this video. If you'd like to subscribe to the YouTube channel, follow me on social media. As always, I enjoy holding this video for all of you guys watching. Enjoy today, and hope you have a wonderful, wonderful, wonderful Sunday. And remember, if you guys want to talk or chat, I'm always be here to lend. You'll always be back. Take care and make good choices. 607 all day, baby.